Alright, y'all. We're going to be talking about a very important controversial topic today. But this person that you see right here on the screen is a fucking poser in the alternative emo gothic community. This person on screen, also known as TenTillDeath, is a fucking industry plant. He's a literal industry plant. Like, he literally used to make fucking rap music and used to be just a basic ass white boy, right? Look, this is how he used to look like. This is how he used to look like. Look! Look, he used to not be alt. He used to not be fucking alt and shit. Look at that! Look at that! Does he look fucking alt to you? And this guy, is making money off of being emo. He's making money off of being alternative. He's making money off of being goth. Look at him. 3.13k subscribers on YouTube, right? Look how many views. And he's, using 732,000 views. Oh my god, a fucking poser. And not even just that, right? If you go and you check out his fucking shorts, he makes shorts about TX2. Look what his bio says. Totally not the official YouTube channel of the Gothic Emo Prince TenTillDeath, right? Goth guy slides in your DMs. That's poser shit. POV goths playing Ring Around the Rosie to someone Cthulhu. Poser shit, right? Look at all this Look at this poser. Look at this poser, right? Well, that poser is me. Hey everybody, it is everybody's favorite. Okay, let's cut the crap. Hello everybody, it's TenTillDeath, and today we're going to be talking about allegations that, and I know this is going to be, come up in the future. And this has happened already in the past, about a year ago. And so I'm going to address them now. And even though I've addressed them with my subscribers, I've addressed them with people on TikTok, I've reached out to people and I've told them the truth, right? I am going to address allegations way before, as I get, because my channel's been growing. I'm going to address them way before any YouTuber tries to, do this shit, right? Because I know there's going to be YouTubers, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's a fucking poser, and I've heard that shit before, so, about a year ago, right, and especially in recent times, but about a year ago on TikTok, people on TikTok tried to cancel me because I had, a TikTok that was going viral at the time, and people did not like that TikTok. Now, that TikTok in question, let me pull up that TikTok. If I can get to pull up. That TikTok was a Johnny Gilbert TikTok where it was kind of me making fun of his fans, and it blew up. And a lot of people, that TikTok actually started a lot of comment wars of people, so a lot of people try to find out who made that TikTok, and they found out it was me, and then they had done some deep digging on me. And then people started, responding to people's comments saying, hey, this TenTillDeath guy is a fucking poser. He's, making money. He's capitalizing off of people's trauma. He's an abuser, blah, 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 whatever, right? He used to not look this way. He used to be a fucking rapper. He's an industry plant, blah, 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 blah. And this is the fucking TikTok that ended up blowing up, which provoked a lot of comments like that. Like, people would literally follow me just to fucking comment on my shit and tell people how much of a poser I am and warn people about my content, right? So it says, Johnny fangirls after getting plane tickets to Cali to find out he's taken. And this was about a fucking year ago, 3/15/2024. Wow, that was a minute ago, right? And I'll explain everything. I'll explain the enigma that is me, that is ma, TenTillDeath, right? So, let's start with the first allegation. The first allegation is, oh, he's a poser. He used to never look like this. Did you see? He used to make rap music. Like, he failed as a rapper. And so now, now he's doing this because he failed as a rapper, right? Listen to this. This is how you know he was a shitty rapper, right? Listen to this. This is how you know he's a poser. Controversially rapping the words of me to like poser, see? Poser. So I'll explain the whole thing of, oh, yeah, this guy's a poser because, he used to make rap music. Well, that's the first thing. One, and it's like I've talked about before, I talked about it in the TX2 video, when it comes to music, right, if you make music as an artist, you are going to evolve. And that's what I love about one of my favorite artists, Prince. Prince understood, you have to evolve as an artist. You have to try new things. You have to do things that people aren't going to typically like, that you yourself like, right? And, even when I was rapping, right, I was also producing. So not only was I rapping at that time, I remember, I also done lo-fi hip-hop tracks. There's a lot of stuff that I did at that time. And at the end of the day, I love music, I can talk about all the different artists that I've listened to, artists I got on cassette. I don't know if you guys know who the 1960s music group Bread is. That's a very good one. You got Jerry Lee Lewis. You got Elvis. Everyone knows freaking Elvis. The Carpenters. Such a great music band, and not music band, music duo. And I miss Karen Carpenter. Such a great vocalist. I have a whole CD collection. Don't even get me started about my fucking cassette collection that I've been building. But, you as an artist, when you're an artist, and especially if you're like me and you just love music in general, you recognize that you want to change. You want to make music beyond what you just make. And I know for me, right? I love hip hop music. I love hip hop music. I can tell you for days. I can talk about Nas, not Lil Nas X. I can talk about Nas, 90s hip hop, 80s hip hop. We could even argue if hip hop started on slave ships. That's a whole discussion for another time. And even when I was rapping, I knew I didn't want to just make hip-hop music. I wanted to go beyond hip-hop music, right? And it's the same for your favorite artist, right? Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance. What did he do? Gerard Way, didn't just make sad, depressing emo music all the time, right? You should check out his album, Hesitant Alien. Sounds sonically different than anything he's ever made, right? Take, Frank Iero, of My Chemical Romance. He also started making different types of music. Prince, Michael Jackson. Even freaking, we could sit here and argue, Karen Carpenter of the Carpenters, once the 80s rolled around, she had that one album, and I have that album on CD. I forgot what the album is called. I think it's called Loveliness. That's technically considered her last album before she died. But that sounded sonically different than anything, she ever made before that. And Karen Carpenter actually, was very excited about that album, but at a listening party, the fans clearly weren't, right? And as a music artist, you got to recognize that, your tastes change. You don't want to just make the same music forever, right? Fall Out Boy's a good example of that. Fall Out Boy, they've evolved as artists too, freaking Sum 41. Sum 41, they've mostly stayed the same in my opinion. But a lot of artists evolve. Your favorite artist will evolve at some point. And, you can't stay depressed forever. You can't stay depressed, making sad, depressing music forever. Even the same for a lot of goth artists. There's a lot of, goth artists, cold wave, dark wave artists that, eventually evolved. Bring Me to Horizon, good example of this. Early work, heavy stuff. Later down the line, they started changing their music. They even made a whole lo-fi album, right? And that's the thing that people don't recognize about artists, is there's a reason why they're called artists. You're creative. You're constantly finding new things to get inspired by, right? And so I feel like that whole argument about, TenTillDeath is fucking poser because he used to make rap music, right? And it's just like all the artists that I just mentioned, right? And it's not me saying, I decided to sell out. No. My prerogatives changed. I no longer feel hip-hop music anymore. And when and this is the thing, I listened to a lot of pop punk and emo music growing up, so that was nothing new to me, right? It's just I just decided to never make that kind of music. Even when I was rapping, I made pop music at one point when I was rapping, right? So next thing, the whole, he used to not dress this way, or he used to not look like this, because clearly you can see right there. Hold up, let me see if I can find an old photo of me, right? Because there's an old photo of me on Google, and at this time I wasn't in a really good mental state. I'll show you guys. Yeah, at this time I wasn't in a really good mental state, so I was looking horrible here, gangy. But right here, I don't know if you see this one right here. Yeah, this one, right? Second one on the top, right? A lot of people are like, he used to never look like this. This is proof he's a poser. It's like I've talked about it in my book. I've talked about it with Armavation. I've talked about it on my live streams, right? I've talked about this many times. You change in your life. You as a human being will always change. Who you are as a teenager is not going to be the same person who you're going to be 10 years later. Me 4 years ago is not the same person mentally as I am, now, right? And this is the thing, we want a lot of people. This is what's crazy, right? Politically, right? A lot of liberals politically want people to, want conservatives to join their sides and vice versa, right? So they want people that change their ideals and ideas, right? But when people change their ideals and ideas, a lot of times, we clown on them and we're like, oh, you're a poser and stuff. And a lot of the views that I hold towards music or towards something political, it's changed the last 4 years, right? You can't stay the same individual forever. Like compare, what you believed when you were 6 years old to you as a human being now, right? I know when I was 6 years old, I believed in fucking the Tooth Fairy. There's no way I believe in the Tooth Fairy now, right? I've changed, right? I used to, be very music elitist, right? And now I try to listen to a lot of new artists, even though the internet is pretty music elitist these days. But I still listen to a lot of older artists. I listen to older artists, in decades that nobody likes listening to anymore. 1960s. Who listens to 1960s music anymore? Everyone's focused on 80s and 90s music these days when they talk about old music, right? But I love 60s. 60s had such great, era. But everyone changes. Like I said, fashion changes. Look around you. Compare fashion 10 years ago to now. Emo fashion, it's changed. 2000s emo fashion changed during the 2010s, right? Emo music, that's changed from the 90s to the 2000s to 2010s to now, right? People change. And it's like I've talked about in my podcast and stuff. When I was in high school, I was an emo, right? And then I got bullied out of being an emo. And, it's like I've talked about, growing up, I didn't know how to deal with bullying. I didn't know how to deal with my mental health issues and stuff. And I was in denial for a long time about my mental health issues and my insecurities and stuff. And when I was in high school, I let the bullies win. And in my brain, when I quit being emo, right? When I quit being emo and I saw that I wasn't getting bullied anymore, in my brain registered it as, oh, so being normal is a good thing. Yeah, being normal is a good thing, and being emo is a bad thing. So in my brain, it pretty much told me, oh, yeah, being alternative and not being being yourself is a bad thing. Conform to the norm. And so at that time, I became anti-alt, anti-emo. And also because of my brain seeing that it benefited me as a teenager. That's what I thought, right? And, over the years, being anti-alt, even though I was alt as a teenager, it's like I've talked about many times. I was jealous. I was insecure. I was insecure that I let bullies win. And seeing alt people, it made me insecure and jealous because it reminded me that I let the bullies win. And I let the bullies win from allowing me to express myself. Whereas now, as a grown adult, I don't care what people say. I don't care if people say I'm goth enough, or if people say I'm alt enough, or if people really, call me a poser, right? But I'm just making this video. I know you guys are like, oh, you made this video, clearly you care. I'm just making this video to address things because I know people are going to use a lot of these stupid arguments, right? And try to discredit me. So, as a grown adult, I don't really care what people think. And, why as a teenager, I cared versus now, big difference. Teenager me, I was growing up with a you gotta be tough attitude, type of shit, right? All way I was raised, different. And, as a teenager and stuff, I was taught that, oh yeah, trauma, mental health shit, therapy. If you go to a therapist, that's reserved for the crazies. And I remember following, my breakup with me and my ex-fiance at the time in 2022. I went through a whole mental health journey. And that's when I rediscovered myself. That's when I pretty much realized, oh shit, man, I have these mental health issues. I'm actually a very insecure person that only didn't like alt people because, it reminded me of my bullying and stuff, right? And it reminded me that I let the bullies win. And so seeing alt people being able to, live out their dreams and, give a fuck you to the bullies, it made me feel insecure, right? And so difference between teenager me versus now is that, teenager me, didn't know how to deal with that shit versus current me going through that mental health journey. I know how to deal with that stuff, right? Like, so that's to address that allegation. The whole, he didn't look like this before. Next one, because I know this one, became a big thing on, well, it didn't become a big thing, but last year, people, there was people that tried to bring this up. The whole, TenTillDeath, he's a fucking abuser, blah, 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 blah. How are we going to give an abuser a platform to speak on the internet? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, how can we give an abuser a platform to speak on the internet? TenTillDeath made a whole album, capitalizing off of his abuse, blah, 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 blah. Yo, wait, we gotta get rid of this abuser. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Can I find the video? Okay, I'm gonna have to, hold on, we're gonna have to sort by all this. Yeah, you see that, chat? TenTillDeath released an album called Trauma Ruined My Life. He's capitalizing off of it, and he's an abuser. Cancel him. Whoa. Let's talk about this. He even released a book where he talked about it and admitted to his wrongdoings, right? Listen, y'all. Listen. One, let's address the whole, capitalizing off of trauma thing, right? That's bad. It's bad. It's like I said in the TX2 video, a lot of those emo bands from the 2000s made a lot of money talking about their trauma, talking about their suicidal, stuff, talking about their drug abuse addictions, right? But nobody batted an eye. Nobody talked about, nobody's calling out Gerard Way for making money off of, his trauma from 9/11, right? I love Gerard Way. Love, My Chemical Romance. Bullets is, favorite album, next to 3 Cheers, right? Nobody's calling out Burt McCracken of The Used for talking about, the abuse and trauma and the drug addiction he suffered. Nobody's calling him out for that. So why call me out, right? What is music? What does music? A lot of people use music because music is a great, sweet, sweet escape from life. A lot of times music relates to your life. A lot of times, you're going through something depressing. My Chemical Romance, a lot of their music helped people during depression, right? It helped people. So a lot of times artists like myself, artists like My Chem, artists like The Used, 21 Pilots, Prince, Mike Jack, Mike Jack, he made a lot of money off of, things he went through, struggles he went through, right? But a lot of times artists use their pain so they can, as a way to express how they felt all those years. And then when they use their pain to make that work of art, that work of art that was created from their pain makes you feel heard because you're going through the same stuff, right? You're going through traumatic experiences. You're going through depression. NF, good example, right? I'm not a fan of NF. I admit he's a talented artist. He has some good songs that I think are pretty banging. But NF, he uses a lot of his past experiences and how he's feeling. A lot of it's, pain, depression, suicidal thoughts, right? He's making money off of that, clearly. He's making money off of that. But you as a listener are able to relate. You as a listener are able to listen to his story about depression and suicide and self-harm. And it applies to you because you've been in that same position. So this whole, capitalizing shit, if you're going to call me out, call out every other artist, right? Now, second thing, the whole little, he was an abuser thing. Let me pull it up. TenTillDeath was an abuser. Cancel him. Hold up. I'm trying to pull up the book. I think my cat. Yeah, look. If there's a digital book, and it's a free book. It's a free book that you can download, right? It's called Trauma Ruined My Life, the real life journal of an abuser, where TenTillDeath admits, he was an abuser, and blah, 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 blah. And it's a free book you can download, by the way. I think the only website you have to pay is if you get it on Amazon, because Amazon made it. Amazon pretty much made it. When I uploaded the book, I put it free on every platform, but Amazon made it where if you want to host a book on their website, you got to have a minimum of, I think $4 for the book, or else they're not going to host it. So I couldn't make it for free, from my understanding. But you can get it for free on Apple, books, all of the other fucking platforms, right? Because I wanted people to use them. Take my story and, use it, as a way to, understand, right? But, oh my God, cancel him. Abuser, abuser. Now, this is my thing. All of you people that talk about we got to prioritize talking about trauma. We got to prioritize mental health. We got to prioritize therapy in America. We got to get more people to go to therapy. You cannot say we gotta talk more about mental health and then try to cancel me for this. And here's why. I've gone to therapy. I have a lot of books. That's part of the reason why I actually started going to college, because I wanted to become a therapist myself, right? But then, I decided, I'm going to change fields. I have a lot of books about psychology and abuse and stuff like that, and it helped me understand myself, right? Then talking to therapists, right? That helped me understand myself. Counselors too. But you cannot be pro mental health and you cannot be pro therapy and then try to cancel people that try to apply that to their life, right? If you guys know anything about psychology, therapy, mental health, then a lot of you guys would understand the way I was raised made me who I am. And in this book, I talk about this in the Trauma Ruined My Life book, right? And the thing is this, I'm not making no fucking money off of this book, so you can download it for free, right? The thing is this, and it's simple. Hold on, give me a moment. I just lost my train of thought thinking about this. The thing is this. Therapy teaches us that we can change, right? Therapy teaches us that we can change our ways. There is abusers that legitimately go to therapy and realize that they're fucking abusers, right? And, slowly over the sessions, they change their ways. There's people that go to therapy with eating disorders, right? And then, trying to get rid of the problem, because eating disorder, that's a bad problem. I've had an eating disorder, talked about it. All body dysmorphia, I've talked about that one too. Sometimes it hits me, but most of the time I deal with it. People go to therapy for all sorts of issues they have, hoping they can change it. Relationship, issues, right? And therapy promotes change, positive change within ourselves. I know you guys don't believe it that, there's abusive people that go to therapy in hopes to change. Yeah, there are abusive people. There's abusive people, that had that self-realization. It was like me. I had that self-realization, right? And this is the thing. You cannot be pro-therapy and pro-mental health and then try to cancel me, because therapy and mental health is very strong about changing, becoming a better person overall, right? And then, it's like, okay, I went to therapy, I done what I could, and I realized the errors of my way, right? I've been very open the last 2 years on the internet about, yeah, I did these things. Those are the things I did. And I've moved on with my life. I've continued to better myself in my life. I've continued to, change how I treat people, right? I've moved on with my life, that's the past. I've forgiven myself. I even told myself I don't expect, those people I hurt to forgive me, and that's okay, But I've forgiven myself, and I know I'm not that person anymore. And it's like with therapy. At the beginning of the session, at the beginning of those therapy sessions, you got this problem. You only see, you see yourself as this alcoholic. At the end of the therapy sessions, you're no longer an alcoholic, right? You're no longer that person anymore, right? And that's the thing with this, people change. You're going to change in your life. You've done stupid things as a teenager that you're not anymore, right? You probably said a slur when you were a teenager, and now, as a grown adult, you realize the consequences and the weight of those slurs. We all say and do stupid stuff, and we've posted it online, and we look back years later. Because our minds change, our brains expand, we evolve, we change as people. Our views change. And you look back and you're like, damn, that was very stupid of me. I just didn't realize what the consequences were at the time. Damn, I wasn't aware how I was hurting this person at the time, right? And so we can't be pro-mental health and pro-therapy and then try to change me, because, I did what I could to change. I did what I could to, stop these behaviors, so I wasn't going to treat people like shit. But does that mean it's going to be a permanent, forever change? No, sometimes we get freaking angry. Sometimes we get upset. But as long as you're not going to make it a reoccurring thing, and you're going to be honest and sincere and tell people that you wronged, hey man, I'm sorry, I royally fucked up. I'm going to try my best. And you actually try to change. That's fine. I forgive you. And I hope you guys can forgive me too. Even though you guys, the people that have called me out for this book, weren't even part of my life. Didn't even give a fuck about me as a human being. Didn't give a fuck about me. Didn't even know who I am when I try to, off myself back in 2022, right? None of them gave a fuck about me. They only cared because, now I'm out there now. And now, well, this is a person that used to be an abuser, blah, blah, blah. And I get it, you have trauma. I have trauma too. I've talked about it in this book. I've moved on from that. I no longer see myself as a trauma victim. I no longer brag about that shit anymore because I see myself as more than just my trauma. I see myself as more than the childhood abuse, I went through, right? I see myself as more than that. I'm more than just that. And that's what I realized. I'm a pretty cool, rad, creative individual, and I love life. Life is fucking great, and I didn't live life before. And a lot of people don't like the fact that, here's this, person that used to be an abuser, and they're living a nice life. They got a home, they got a well-paying job, they got everything they could have asked for, right? This is unfair, and a lot of people, they don't like me for that fact, because, they've gone through a traumatic experience. They've been abused, and to see an abuser, or a past abuser, a person that used to do these things, live a good life, it makes them, it reminds them of their own abuse, where their abuser got away with it, right? And I can't apologize to you people. I can't apologize to none of you people I've never wronged. I cannot apologize to any of you people that feel that way because, you guys know this about me. Oh, this is this abuser that's walking free, blah, blah, blah. I can't apologize to you guys because I was not your abuser. I was not the person that did those things. And I know you guys feel upset. I know, it triggers you, right? But I cannot apologize. You guys need to go to therapy and understand, right? Because when you don't go to therapy, and this is what's crazy, what a lot of people don't know, and this is one of the hardest things I learned, because I used to be deep in studying psychology. Studying psychology is one of the worst mistakes ever. That'll make you think about the world differently, and if you don't want to think about the world, if you don't want to see the darkest depths of the human mind, what it's capable of, do not study psychology. It'll change your perspective, and it changed mine. But one of the craziest things I learned is that a lot of people that are abused end up becoming abusers. So a lot of abuse victims you see crying on TikTok, little do they know is a lot of them are probably already abusers, or a lot of them are becoming abusers. Now, this is not to say every one of them are becoming abusers or will become abusive, right? Good example. Person was abused in their younger age. Now they're, bragging about it on TikTok, but now they have trust issues. So any guy that looks at them, even if the guy, did not mean it flirtingly, because we all look at each other, right? Public, you're walking past someone, you look at them, whether it's intentional or not, right? Because that person is traumatized. They think this person, is staring at them in a sexual way when the person's probably just walking past them on the street, and then they lash out at that person, right? And they lash out at that innocent individual, thus continuing the cycle of abuse, right? Or they take it into the relationships where, someone they thought they could trust ended up abusing them when they were younger. Then they get into a relationship, and then they can't even trust their partner. Trust me, I've been guilty of this. I've talked about this. And so then, they mentally abuse their partner, trying to, keep tabs on everything they do at all times, and then guilt trip them when they don't, report where they've been at all times, right? Which is so weird. It's so weird knowing that we're in a time period where people want to know your location at all times. I'm like, dude, that's so freaking weird, because 20 years ago, nobody would have gave a fuck. As long as they, as long as they saw you like a few days later, it was all fine. But, that cycle of abuse continues, right? And we'll talk about the next thing, the final allegation, the whole, oh, this guy's clearly a poser. You guys see these TikToks he's making? Trying to promote his music, making TikToks about goths, about emos. There's three reasons, and I've talked about this, right? I've been very open. A lot of people have asked me about this on TikTok. I've responded to them, and I've let them know the truth. I'm very open about it, right? Well, we'll talk about this. One, I make music, right? And I make content. And I want people to hear my music. I want people to see my content. So what do you do when you want people to hear your music and see your content? You promote it. You make a TikTok, you make a YouTube video, right? So there's nothing wrong with that, right? And this is the other thing. Well, TenTillDeath, you're still a poser because in some of these TikToks you say this or you do this. Well, you know, what is marketing? What is marketing 101? Marketing, you're trying to capture your audience to get them to buy your product. A lot of these TikToks, it's not me actually being serious, like legitimately, like good example. I'm trying to find one here. Hold up. This one right here. This one. I'm pulling it up. Come on, load. I actually like this one. But it's POV. You're trying to find a perfect selfie camera angle, right? Is it gonna load? I don't. Yeah. It's not me being serious, y'all. It's, you know, me being a silly goof. Like, it's not to be taken seriously. I don't go. No, I'll take a selfie sometimes if I think I look really good that day, right? But it's not to be taken seriously, and that's what a lot of people forget when, you know, people make content online. A lot of it's not to be taken seriously. It's just to be, you know, have a good laugh or sarcastic, right? Or to drive engagement. And I've been very open about that. You know, some of these TikToks and shorts I make are to drive engagement, to get more people to check out the channel, to get more people to check out our music, right? Before you say, oh, that's poser shit, your favorite artist do the same thing. Your favorite artists were doing shit like that 20 years ago. Well, 40 years ago, but, you know, 40 years ago in the 80s, they had to, you know, do shock rock and shit on stage to get people. Marilyn Manson, good fucking example. Good example, right? And that, you know, that's marketing in a nutshell. A lot of your favorite artists and a lot of your favorite influencers are just very low key about it. But, you know, I'm very open and honest about it, you know. A lot of these videos, it's just me, like I said, me being intentionally cringe to, you know, get people to check out my music. There's nothing wrong with that. You're an artist, you want people to check out your fucking music, right? Whether it means making a stupid fucking TikTok or a stupid video, right? It is what it is. Or like this video right here to the right side. Which you prefer, Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke? You know, me and one of the guys at work, you know, guy at work's like, you know, let's collab. And I was like, I got you. And I told him, I was like, dude, this shit's gonna blow up, right? Unironically did. And, you know, this is just being goofballs at fucking work, right? And, you know, I came up with the idea in my head because I knew it would get eyes on my TikTok account and on my, you know, my online persona and draw more fans who can hopefully check out my music. And it did. 1,000 likes. That's pretty fucking cool, right? Pretty fucking cool. And I've been very open and transparent about it. That doesn't necessarily make you a poser. You're just marketing your product. You're just trying to get people to check out your music, check out the art you make. We all do it. I know it's cringy. To say the quiet part out loud that, yeah, you know, I make these videos to draw engagement. Clickbait. No, your favorite artists do it. Your favorite influencers do it too. They're just not open to talk about it because they're scared that if they open up and talk about it, people are going to look at them differently. Content creators, there are content creators that'll teach you this shit. And they're very open and transparent about it, right? I've been very open and transparent about it the last, you know, year and a half on TikTok. But it doesn't necessarily make you a poser and all that shit. Right? So I guess that's all the fucking stupid allegations that I got here to answer. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. The whole industry plan. Let me pull up that one. Industry plan. So I went to TenTillDeath's Apple Music account, right? Let me see if I can get it pulled up. We already talked about the whole music change shit, right? We talked about that earlier, which I have an album coming out soon. It's actually, if it's not out by the time this video is made, it's going to be a half rock, half rap album. Because I'm trying to prove that I can rap still. Look at this. This is proof he's an industry plant. Music to Murder with Records. He's clearly signed to a record label who's giving him money to make this content. So the record label can make money. Now let me explain. Music to Murder with Records is my own self-made record label. Originally, my when we first started making music, our music went under the name Young Dead Bullet Productions, right? Young Dead Bullet Productions. And my YouTube channel actually used to be Young Dead Bullet Productions. So what do I mean by we? It was me, it was my younger brother when he used to make music, and it was my best friend when we used to make music. So we just post all of our music on the same account, right? Eventually they quit making music. And so, when they quit making music, the Young Dead Bullet channel, which it was just all of us, there was no fucking investors, it was just us, 3 stupid teenagers running this channel, right? And running this shit. No fucking investors, none of that stupid shit. But when they quit making music, I turned my channel into, the Young Dead Bullet channel into the current channel. And at some point I was like, well, Young Dead Bullet Productions was me, it was my friend, it was my younger brother, and since they're not making music anymore, I'd rather just change the record label name to Music the Murder with Records, inspired by the Eminem album of the same name, right? And so, there is no fucking actual physical record label backing or any of that shit. I just use a lot of my real life money and shit to fund my shit. And since I make some pretty good money IRL, that's the fact of the matter. So I think that's, every allegation covered. Do you have any other allegations guys want me to, address? Comment below. Until next time. Peace.